Hello everyone, this is Dr. Taposh and welcome to our channel Physiomax Organization. As you people already know that we are continuing our educational series regarding the shoulder joint and its pathological condition, and already we have discussed about few of the pathological conditions like supraspinatus tendinitis, subacromial bursitis, frozen shoulder, adhesive capsulitis. Today we will understand the difference between the rotator cuff injury or rotator cuff tendinitis versus supraspinatus tendinitis. Which one is more common to have an injury and why someone is having more common injury cause than the other? Yes, I am talking about the supraspinatus tendinitis versus rotator cuff tendinitis. Which one is more common? Yes, as per the prevalence, it shows supraspinatus tendinitis, it is more prevalent than the rotator cuff. But sometimes the question arises in our mind that supraspinatus tendinitis is a part of a rotator cuff injury. Yes, supraspinatus tendinitis is a part of a rotator cuff injury. So first we need to understand who are the rotator cuff muscle. So if I talk about the rotator cuff muscle, it comes under the part of SITS group. SITS stands for supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis. As you understood that under this SITS group, supraspinatus is the muscle who are more prone to have a injury. He itself can have a injury which may name as a supraspinatus tendinitis. Then what is the reason why supraspinatus tendinitis is more common than the rotator cuff tendinitis or rotator cuff tendinopathy? Today, with the basic understanding of the anatomy, we will understand why supraspinatus tendinitis is more prone, why these tendons are more prone to go for the injury than the rotator cuff. So come, let us see the structural anatomical difference between these two tendons, define these two type of tendons which passes via the scapular region. So first I am holding this bone. You can understand there's a scapula, and this if I just go a little bit of this anatomy of the scapula, this is the glenoid cavity, this is the acromion process, this is the spine of scapula, and this is a supraspinal fossa, that's the infraspinal fossa, and there's a subscapular fossa. And we already know that as per the anatomy, this supraspinal fossa is the passage of the muscle of the supraspinatus. This is the passage of the muscle of infraspinatus. So if I'm showing like this, that's the passage of the infraspinatus, that's the passage of the supraspinatus, and in this subscapular fossa, there's a passage of the subscapular muscles. And the teres minor, it just goes from here to up. So I am holding over here the head of the humerus. So you can see there's a attachment of the glenohumeral joint, and the supraspinatus tendon, it just goes over here and it inserts just below of the greater tubercle. And also the infraspinatus muscle also goes like this. I'm just showing like this, and the subscapularis goes like this, and the teres minor, it goes from here to here. Now the reason why supraspinatus is more prone to have an injury than the rotator cuff. Some of the viewers of my channel, they have asked, sir, why you are talking about mostly about the supraspinatus muscle, why not the rotator cuff? So what is the anatomical reason? We will understand today why supraspinatus tendon is more prone to have an injury, why supraspinatus tendinitis or supraspinatus tendinopathy is more pronounced than the rotator cuff. So if you understand the supraspinatus muscle orientation, this supraspinatus just goes from the supraspinous fossa like this, and from the below the acromion process and the head of the humerus. Here the supraspinatus tendon falls between these two bones. If I will show you, between these two bones the supraspinatus muscle falls, but the infraspinatus, it goes like this, it does not fall between these two bones. It is having a direct attachment on the posterior aspect of the greater tubercle, same like the subscapular muscle, same like the teres minor. And that is the biggest difference than the supraspinatus versus the other group of muscle. Supraspinatus muscle, as it goes from here to here, and whenever you are doing any sort of abduction, mostly in the 90 degrees of the position, any type of repeated movement, there is a huge chance of the supraspinatus muscle to get impinged between this acromion process and the head of the humerus. And that is the reason the supraspinatus muscle are more prone to have an impingement rather than the other rotator cuff. That is the reason supraspinatus tendinitis is more prone. Now, as we know, as per the anatomy, the supraspinatus tendon is it passes between these two heads. There is a structure which try to protect the supraspinatus tendon. Can you guess what's the name of the structure? Yes, that is the subacromial bursa. This subacromial bursa is just sits between the, by the name you need to understand, it is sits between the acromion process just over here. In this region where I am showing you the supraspinatus tendon like this, here is the subacromial bursa who protects this supraspinatus tendon to get impinged. But whenever we do a repeated movement, whenever we do a movement within a 90 degrees of motion, here there is a huge chance to get the impingement of the supraspinatus tendon. So I guess all of you understood the reason why supraspinatus is more prone to have an injury than the other sort of rotator cuff. Yes, it can be the rotator cuff injury when there is a long tennis type of energy, where there is a excessive force generation of the particular seeds group of muscle or the rotator cuff muscle. That time there is a chance of having a rotator cuff injury. But most common during our daily activities, whenever we do any type of activities in a repeated manner in a 90 degrees of position, it can be holding a object of a bus hold, or it can be a rotational activities like playing a badminton or anything. It can damage the supraspinatus tendon, and here is the cause of having a supraspinatus tendinitis as a high prevalence in the rotator cuff. I hope you people understood the reason, and those who really understood, those who like this type of video, don't forget to subscribe our channel to know all sort of orthopedic and related pain care conditions. Thanks once again. This is Dr. Tapos. Don't forget to follow our channel. Thank you.